Thank you so much for doing this interview with me. You and I go way back.
Yeah, we do. How you been?
Congratulations with all the success, man. What is the consistency that you seem to have to always find the right roles, just doing it right and doing it the way you represent too at the same time?
Man, I just keep working at it. And I believe in telling these stories, and I believe in hard work. I think that's, at the end of the day, that's it. Put in the work, be true to the character, and be true to yourself. And do things that make you proud, that you'd be proud to look at down the road, and not just, do some cliche things and that you could do. And I think that's basically it.
But, at the same time, though, you get to act with some great actors, actresses, especially the one right next to you here.
I feel like you have to say that.
No, I don't. Because I've had a chance to see some one or two of the episodes of this new series, and you do a fantastic job. How does it feel being part of something like this?
It feels incredible. I think from the moment I saw it, I knew that it was special. I knew that it had a very specific voice. It was funny because it was not what my team thought I was going to be doing after my last two projects. And they're like, "You're going to go do a Canadian show?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely," because I think it's part of that new face of Canadian television. I think it's
telling a story, a great story, and playing a great character. Like, forget like, oh, it's airing where? I'm like, yeah, who cares? I'm doing a great show, great character. You'll get to see it and you'll appreciate the work.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got such a specific point of view, such a diverse point of view, such a true, human point of view.
Yes.
And I think that comes through, and it's funny, and it's so sad and so heart-wrenching and beautiful, and just this adventure of this woman who, whose life is turned upside down in the first 4 minutes of the show, and you watch her kind of struggle to figure out who she is with a camera in her face and a new profession and a young son. And
yeah, let's get into, because the show is called Coroner. Because why is it called that?
Well, I think she's a coroner. She becomes a coroner. She was. It's actually based off of M.R. Hall's book series in the UK. It's a best-selling book series that's amazing. I've read the books and sort of fell in love with that character. And this is sort of an iteration of her that is sort of taking Jenny Cooper, changing things up a little bit, putting her in a new city, a new country, a new vibe.
Adding a new character.
Adding a new character, which is gratefully McAvoy, and watching her life unfold and figuring out, who she is once sort of her guiding light, or her controller, which was, I always say she was sort of like a Stepford wife at the beginning. She was very prim and proper and an ER doctor and exactly what she needed to be, and has a beautiful son who's a swimmer, and it's the sort of everything's in line and she knows exactly what's going to happen, and then within the first few minutes of the show, it all falls apart, and she has to find a new job. And she becomes a coroner, and it's this kind of bizarre twist on why she became this coroner, and you realize that she's attracted to death in some capacity, and why is that? And as she digs deeper in other people's death, she starts to reveal her own truth, and her proximity to death is a lot closer than she thought, with her sister passing when she was young, and she has no memory of it, and she was mute for 2 months after it, and she starts to kind of put these pieces together in the last or in the first season, and it's. Yeah, and she's hallucinating, and she's taking Ativan, and she's hiding that from, her new colleagues, and trying to be professional, and she's struggling. She's a human that struggles, and there's a lot of comedy in that, randomly.
A lot of shows try to do what you just talked about, layers and layers, and sometimes the layers just don't make any sense. This does. And also introducing your new character. Yeah. How does your new character, do you think, fits into a story that we already kind of knew before in what we read?
Well, the great thing is he is the traditional way of doing things, the old school boys' way of doing things, and signing off on things, and he gets out there, he's in control, he solves the crimes, he catches the murderer, and he goes home to his wonderful home, and he's been married a few times, so he has some faults, but but the thing is, and so he's in very much, his life is going this way, and he's very happy and very level, and then this coroner gets appointed, and this new young person comes in and shakes up his world, and all of a sudden he goes, no, those are my old cases, we don't deal with those anymore. He goes, but she wants to tell the truth of the death and this, and it's kind of like, seriously, can't you leave well enough alone? But she can't. And so by doing that, she not only stirs up old cases that he has to deal with, but she stirs up things from his past and his whole neighborhood that he has to go back and deal with. and throughout the show, you'll see several things that he thought he'd left behind and already dealt with, and now he has to go back and figure out and realize, nah, you're not in control, son.
And the beautiful thing is that it's sort of like he is the quintessential boys club, member at the beginning, where it's like it's this archaic thing where people just, there is a way to do it. This is how we do it. This is who does it. And then Jenny comes in and breaks down the door, and everybody at first is very shocked. And then McAvoy's sort of the one that at the end holds the door open. He's the one who continuously invites her back to the table, and it's like, actually, you guys, let's take a second and listen to what she has to say. And this sort of bizarre duality between the two of them, where at the beginning they're very opposing, starts to grow over the season, and you find this like camaraderie, even though they both think the other one is slightly insane. There's this and there's humor in that, and you watch the two of them help. Like, I couldn't solve my cases without him. He can't solve it without me. And it's like this really interesting kind of friendship that develops throughout the season.
And her character reminds his character of the passion he used to have when he first started out.
It sounds so much like yin and yang. Like, you guys, because when you're talking about death and almost like past lives, and it's almost like in a slight way, you guys have been connected somewhere in the, past or whatever else.
Who knows?
There's this like beautiful camaraderie that happens at the beginning through our differences, where usually you migrate towards a human because you're like, oh, we've got so many similarities, this and that and the other, and we had to become friends we had to work together based on proximity, but we become friends off of our personality and off of, he really keeps me balanced in some ways and challenges me, and I really have to lean in, and he's usually the first person that says no, and I'm like, yes, and he's like, no, and I'm like, yes, and he goes, all right, maybe. And there's there's this movement, and for, I think with him, there's this kind of, as he said, this fresh personality that comes in that's like, are we sure that things are what we thought they were? Yeah. Let's double check that.
And he has to face it, he has to face that.
You guys must be thrilled. You must have been thrilled every time you got a new script.
Yeah.
Because you did not know. You wouldn't know.
We did know. The thing was our episode was our season was actually pre-written.
Okay.
So we had a Bible, which most shows have, that say what is going to be written, and then our show, almost all of it was written. The 7 and 8 were the last two that were still coming together, but we had 1 through 4 right off the bat, which was block shots. We shot all 4 at the same time. So in one day we'd be shooting an episode from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I had binders and tabs.
Clothes and keeping that straight, just the logistics alone.
I was like, okay, how many times have I hallucinated? Where's the dog? Have I taken an Ativan yet? What's happening? Do I like you yet? Because there was in one of the episodes, I don't like you. I can't figure out. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, but we knew.
I'm going to leave it to there because I don't want anybody else to get any more. They have to watch this. This is exciting. I love this, but what I love more is you guys are taking something and you're challenging the old ways of television, and you're putting it in such a bright light, and I love this. I cannot wait for this. Folks, congratulations on the new series.
Much.
I cannot wait. Cross fingers. There's going to be a season 2. There has to be. Congratulations.
My man, thank you.